Punt is away. The crowd chanting Tyreek, Tyreek as Hill takes it. The number one punt returner in the league. At the 25, puts his foot in the ground. 35, 40. Gets a block midfield. Cuts it back 40, 30. Goodbye, Oakland. Tyreek Hill. 10-5. Touchdown. Kansas City.
That was one of my favorite Chiefs moments of all time as Tyreek Hill really introduced himself to the world. Who better to do it against than the Raiders? Hopefully a few more big plays here in this one from Tyreek as the Chiefs take on the Raiders on Sunday. Hey everyone, and welcome into our game preview this week presented by Crown Royal. My name is Matt McMullen, and this week we're joined by Charles Davis of CBS Sports. He'll be on the call this weekend. Charles, you've been on twice now on our game preview show. You're our only repeat of the year. I think you're technically a friend of the show now. What's up, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great, Matt. It's always great to see you and to be a friend of the show. And FOS, it's pretty cool for me. I'll take it each and every time. Happy holiday season to you and to everyone out there.
Yeah, happy holidays to you as well. Chiefs Kingdom is certainly enjoying the holidays right now. Won 5 straight games. The last time you saw the Chiefs was back in Week 7. A lot has changed since then. I mentioned a 5-game winning streak, and really the emergence of the defense is what's behind that 5-game winning streak right now. The defense since Week 8 has allowed a grand total of 6 touchdowns, fewest in the NFL. They're allowing just 11.2 points per game in that span. That's second best in the NFL behind only New England. They're going to try to keep that going here against the Raiders, who they're really good against back in Week 10. Held them to just 14 points, 1 of 9 on third down. They allowed a net of -2 yards on third down in that game. It's crazy what they were able to do. How can they keep that going here against Derek Carr and this Raiders offense on Sunday?
Well, I don't think they have to change anything. You know what I mean, Matt? This is one of those things now that they've locked into a good groove. And here's where I give Kansas City as an organization, as a team, as individuals, a lot of credit. Earlier this season, they had a lot of pieces missing on that defense, or they were in and out of the lineup. All right. The consistency just wasn't there. You watch them play each and every week, and I'll bet you every week you're saying, okay, they're missing this starter here on defense. They're missing that starter on defense. This guy's not at full capacity. This guy's playing in a different position, all those things. But you never heard them talk about it, right? You didn't hear it. You didn't read it in the media. You didn't catch it on a thing. Didn't even get like a side comment like, well, we might be different. We get everybody back. None of that. They just went out and played, and they absorbed all the slings and arrows that came their way. And some of them were deserved. They didn't play very well at times because we all know this is a league next man up. All right. So no one cares who's hurt, who's not there. Can you play? But now they've got all their pieces together. We're seeing the secondary coalesce now. Get Charvarius Ward back at one corner. L'Jarius Sneed continues to play. Matthew's been there for most of the year, although remember, he was out early with COVID. Daniel Sorensen, he's playing at a really high level now. And of course, Thornhill's starting. I could go on for days, but the bottom line is they've got their best 11 out there now for Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator. And I've been joking all week, and I'm hoping we can get into our game telecast. I've joked that it's like Coach Herman Boone in Remember the Titans. Remember when they asked him about his offensive playbook and he handed his playbook and the other assistant said, "What's awfully thin playbook?" He goes, "I run 6 plays, gentlemen, split veer. Just give it." It's like Novocaine. Just give it time. It always works. That's what I think of with Spags. Because go back to the Giants, the struggles they would have at the end of the year, they were winning Super Bowls. Go look at his time in Kansas City. Struggles by the end of the year, they're forced to be reckoned with. It certainly seems like that Novocaine is kicking in really well for Kansas City right now.
Yeah, and really at the perfect time to see this defensive emergence when we're seeing it really in the home stretch of the season has been awesome. And we saw it against the Raiders back in Week 10. I mentioned that. One kind of crazy stat about the Raiders and their offense this year is that Derek Carr, when he throws for 300 yards this season, they're 6-0, averaging over 30 points a game. When he throws for less than 300 yards, they're 0-6. It's like 13 points per game. So they really go the way of Derek Carr. If he has a good game, they win. If he has a bad game, they lose. The Chiefs held him under 300 yards back in Week 10, really kept him in check, kept their playmakers in check. So hoping for a similar result here this time around. Looking at the Chiefs offense, they've done enough to get the job done in recent weeks. We are looking for some more consistency, I think, from this group, just based on what we've seen from them in the past. If they're going to try to do that against this Raiders defense, got to avoid that pass rush, right? Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue. Crosby leads the NFL in pressures. Ngakoue has 8 sacks this year. How can the offense find some success, some consistent success here against this Raiders defense on Sunday?
I think it's been a theme that's been consistent for most of this year for Kansas City, and I'm sure people are tired of actually hearing it and talking about it, but it remains the same. For teams like Kansas City who can score at the blink of an eye, you've got to make them earn it, as defenses like to say. You've got to make sure that they run extra plays to try and get there. liken it this way. In basketball, when you're playing a team that likes to fast break, that likes to press and run, if you can get them into a half-court game and make them run their offense multiple times, oftentimes mistakes happen. The ball gets turned over. They can't get things. It's not their groove. That's what people are trying to do to Kansas City. They want those drives not to be 2, 3, 4 plays. They want those drives to be 6, 8, 10 plays, and hopefully a mistake will take place. That's the way that the Las Vegas Raiders play on defense. They want everything in front. They want you to run extra plays. So in this case, Kansas City has to out-patient a patient defense. That's where they've got to go. You've got to rely on that. And by the way, the reason I started with, we've been talking about it for most of it, what team hasn't tried to play Kansas City that way? What week can you go back and not find a quote from Patrick Mahomes of, yeah, we got to take what they give us, but when the big play's there, we got to take it then? It's the same thing each and every time, but they actually have to live it. I thought they did a nice job of that in the game in Las Vegas, and still were able to get some of the big plays that resulted, because occasionally there were breakdowns. I think the same thing applies here. I don't think there's much different. Plus, I would like to see a third receiver emerge for Kansas City.
Yeah, we saw Darrell Williams kind of become that guy in Week 10. He had 101 receiving yards against the Raiders.
That catch he made in the end zone. He looked
amazing.
like a wide receiver on that play. He went and took that one. That was not a perfectly thrown ball. That was not that beautiful. He's wide open. He went up in the end zone and took it just like a good receiver does.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a part of a really strong offensive performance for the Chiefs back in Week 10. The Chiefs scored 41 points in that game. And to get back to what you were talking about taking what the defense is giving you, the Chiefs had 252 yards after the catch in that game. So the ball was getting out quick, kind of neutralizes that pass rush, and let guys like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Byron Pringle, all these guys, Mecole Hardman, make plays after the catch, and they did that. So hopefully they can do that here again in this one as the Chiefs look to beat the Raiders and get a 6th consecutive victory. Charles, awesome stuff as always, man. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Great to see you as always.